We begin this morning with Kyle Rittenhouse. Talk about a dramatic day in court. Some people still look at him as a child, but no, he's a man being charged as an adult because, well, yesterday he was kind of, doing a child thing. He was sobbing as the accused murderer. An angry judge yelling in the courtroom, calls for a mistrial. We had a lot going on in that courtroom yesterday in Wisconsin. This all started Wednesday when a surprise move. Kyle Rittenhouse took the stand, and believe it or not, in his own defense. The 18-year-old faces multiple charges for shooting and killing two men and wounding another during a Black Lives Matter protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, following the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Take a listen to Kyle on the stand yesterday.
And I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski, and there were three people right there.
They can eat my house.
That's what That's what I run.
He did his best. He tried to squeeze one out, didn't he? I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm being a little insensitive. Maybe I should be, but he's on the stand. He's an adult. Emotional. I know he's got some emotions going through his body, but I don't know, Sharon, are you buying it? Do you think the jury
It's a
bought it?
much
That's
different.
The most important thing.
Well, it depends, and sadly, I'm not even going to worry about what people think. Looking at the world in terms of black and white, this is a much different Kyle Rittenhouse than we saw that night, toting that long gun, running towards danger, and trying to protect people's property. But court makes him blubber and break down. And I'm looking for the wetness around his eyes, okay?
Oh, God, yeah, exactly.
But this was, to me, this was a tremendously rehearsed performance, and he did hit his paces, he set the scene, and he delivered his lines. Yep. This is much different than the young man who crossed state lines with that weapon, blew someone's arm off, and killed two people because he had to, right? That guy is not this guy. And I can only think of an 18-year-old black male in America who doesn't have Ricky Schroeder, the actor, paying for his defense, accused of murder. If we would even be asking the question if we believe him, because I think it would already, I don't know that he would make it this far. There would already be a deal that kind of puts him away for a good long chunk of his life, if not forever. I'm disgusted by Kyle Rittenhouse. I do, though, think that he is caught up in a band of indoctrination that brought him to that scene, and he's still not undergone deprogramming. Instead, he's on the stand because his life matters. Not black people, not Jacob Blake. His life matters. And now that he's on the stand, assisted by the defense that Ricky Schroeder has paid for, at least the bail, and many would argue the judge's hand on the scale in his favor, he's suddenly reduced to tears, and he's a boy. He's not a boy. He's a killer, and may indeed be convicted of double murder.
If that happens, I don't think he's going to get a lot of time. We're going to talk to Dr. James Pratt about that because of the judge in the case. I just don't think that everything's going in the favor of the prosecution here. I don't know how well the prosecution did their job yesterday. This is the same Kyle Rittenhouse that we saw. There he is. We'll get to him in a second. The same Kyle Rittenhouse that we saw. They brought it up in court. The judge admonished the prosecution for it. Actually beating a little girl prior to this. And then months after this, as he's still being charged as a murderer, he's playing pool with a T-shirt that says "free as you know what," the F word, while throwing up racist signs with the Proud Boys. That's the same little Kyle Rittenhouse that we saw, the same little 17-year-old that we saw in the stand yesterday, trying to squeeze out those tears to show some emotion. Maybe the jury, bought it because they're a jury of his peers. So that's all that really matters in this case right here. But here, in the court of public opinion, in Mike Hill's court, I'm not buying it, Kyle Rittenhouse, because I remember a lady who had lost her 2 children years ago. Her name was Susan Smith, and she tried to squeeze off those tears, and she cried. She cried. And later on, she was convicted of killing those same 2 children that she said was missing, that somebody else had killed. That's what I remember about this country. That's what I remember about what we have to deal with in this case right here with Kyle Rittenhouse. That man right there who had just shot 3 people, shot at another one, walked by with a long gun, and the cops let him walk away. That is the country we live in. That's the justice system that we have to deal with. And the judge in this case we'll get to in a second as well.